Good afternoon, everybody. Alex here, as always, from the Festival of Enterprise. Thank you for joining us for today's first webinar. Hottest day of the year, I believe, in the UK. I know we've got people joining us from different parts of the world as well. But those of you who've joined us, I can see we have got Ian from Durham. We've got Manchester from MR. There's Susan joining us. Catherine from Inverness. Damp, that's no good, is it? Karen watching from the sunny Chilterns. Well, I'm broadcasting here from Poole in Dorset, and Ali is down in Colchester. And seems like we've covered most of the country between us because we've got Sharon from Brixton as well. And I think Chris is down in Kent, if my memory serves me right. So thank you all for joining us today. So I've got Ali with me. And we are going to be talking about creating business fame post-lockdown, why building credibility and trust is vital. So Alison Shadrack Brown, to give her first full title, is the founder of Adia PR and the torchbearer behind some of the UK's most disruptive and trailblazing entrepreneurs. Looking forward to this talk. I think it's a really good time to be doing this because people are looking for solutions when it comes to building their business, their personal brands at the same time, trying to, gain back credibility that we had maybe 60 to 90 days ago and pinning ourselves at the forefront of people's minds to grab their attention as Boris starts loosening the strings to the economy, not without time. So, looking forward to this. Any questions, guys? Just a bit of housekeeping for you if you haven't joined us before is use this chat box where you've been posting up your name and where you're from. Any questions that you've got for Ali as we go through, I can relay those to her as we work through this webinar, and any questions we can answer towards the end. If there's anything earth-shattering, I will let Ali know during the course of the webinar, but otherwise we'll grab those at the end. So please keep them coming throughout the presentation because they will be relevant. Trust me, and it does make it really good and interactive as well. And welcome to everybody who's also joining on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube as well. If you'd like to ask any questions, come on over here to the webinar, festivalenterprise.co.uk, to register, where you'll be able to fully interact with the webinar. So without further ado, I am going to hand over to Ali to do the introduction. I'll focus the screen on her presentation, let you introduce, and then I will fully focus it on the presentation as well, Ali. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Ali.
Lovely, great, thank you. So I'm just trying to see what's on my screen, Alex. I can't see the actual presentation. Is that correct?
So yeah, we can see it. We can see it. You might need to hit what's the button where you just share the presentation mode, isn't it?
Okay. Perfect, lovely. Thank you very much. So hi everybody. I hope you're well. I'm really excited to be doing this seminar. And really, sorry, Alex, I just want to go back. Are you going to change the slides for me?
No, so you have control. You have control, yeah.
Do I?
Yeah, so we can see the opening slide, bounce back live.
Okay, sorry about this, everybody. We should have had a look.
Okay. We're all good.
I can't see how to change the slide.
You just got your arrow cursor just to move it forward onto the next one.
Yeah, no, it's not going down for some reason.
Unless you just manually move your cursor and click on the next one.
Oh, gosh, why is that not going? No, it's not changing for some reason.
Okay, stay with us, everybody.
Sorry about this, everybody. It says I'm sharing a window.
Yeah, we can see it. It's up on the screen. Can you click presentation mode, I think, is the button.
Because
at the moment we can see the side panel as well, so we just
right. Okay, so here we go. All right. Hopefully that's better. That would be why. Okay. Okay, here we go. So sorry, everybody, we're back again. So thank you for joining me today. So really, what I want to ask you is, who are you and why should I care? And I'll never forget that, you know, one of my team members called Sky News, and the producer answered the phone saying, who are you and why should I care? Now, seriously, I mean, that's exactly what he replied. And, you know, that's one way of answering the phone, but actually he hit the nail on the head. That really is what they want to know in the news desk, you know, who are you? What do you have to say? And why should our audience care? So I can tell you that is what people who don't know you yet will be thinking too. So to answer the question, you'll need clarity on your brand positioning and purpose, and you need to back it up with trust and credibility. So, by the way, to answer that question, my colleague at who was speaking to Sky News, she did answer the question. She told her who she was and who the client was, and you know why he and the audience at Sky News should care and should be interested in our client. So our client was on Sky News the following day. So just a little bit about me, if you don't know me already. I'm the CEO and founder of Adia PR. So I've got over 20 years of PR and marketing experience, working across the world in different guises at the European Commission in Brussels, Accenture, a global consultancy in London, a property company in New York, and I've also run several small businesses myself. So I launched an e-commerce company in the year 2000, and that was pre-social media days, which was interesting and certainly interesting to get people to buy online in those days, and certainly we needed to build a lot of, you know, trust and credibility to get our clients to actually purchase online at that time. So there's various things about me, who I am and what I've achieved. Yeah, I'm also heavily involved with the Institute of Directors. So I've recently been made interim chair in Essex, and I've been an ambassador of their team for a number of years now. So what we're going to cover today. So first of all, why creating business fame will help you grow your business post-lockdown. Why building credibility and trust is vital to your brand. And the 3 key things to build your brand credibility and trust. Okay, so there has been a noticeable shift in the way that people are looking at businesses, brands, organizations, and they're looking a lot more closely and considering their potential relationship with you. It's no longer just about buying a product or service from you. There's an increasing expectation that your business operates with integrity and authenticity. So people care more than ever about who you are. Are you a brand that they can trust? And are you a credible organization? So now is the perfect time to share with your audience how you're delivering on your own brand values. And if you get it right, you will not only be able to build loyal Raving fans, but they will help you fast track your business growth and success. So I don't know how hard you've been hit by COVID-19, but I do know that no business has escaped untouched by the virus and the lockdown, you know, situation. So now for some of you, maybe your sales fell off the edge of the cliff. I know some of our clients have had that experience. Maybe some of you, it's actually proved to be quite a pivotal moment. Now, maybe promoting your business hasn't been top of your priorities recently, but if you've logged in to watch this training, then I'm sure that you agree that it's time to look forward and start being heard and seen again in front of your ideal audience. So it's time to create your business fame, and building credibility and trust are vital in helping you to do that. Now, of course, even if you're not ready right now, if your business situation means that you're not ready to go out there right now, then obviously bear in mind this information and use it as soon as you are ready to get going again. Okay. So why do you need to create business fame? Well, there's so many benefits, really. Obviously, the key thing is new sales, new business, new members, depending on what sort of business or organization you're running, and reaching out to new prospects and leads. So the more famous you are, then the more people are going to hear and see you and reach out to you. Now, look, when I say famous, I don't mean celebrity, Hollywood famous. And I don't necessarily mean you have to be, oh, she's gone, go back. Sorry, let me go back. I'm not saying that you need to be a household name as such. For most businesses, it's sufficient to be famous or well-known in your industry sector, or maybe your geographic area. So at the very least, you want to be famous in front of your ideal audience, your ideal customers. That's who you want to be famous in front of. So when your business becomes well-known or famous, you will enjoy fantastic benefits. So some that you would naturally assume, as I mentioned, the sales, the new business, new members, etc. Those are the sort of obvious things that you will hopefully create. But there's many other benefits. And so let me go through them. So you will help to build the know, like, and trust factors. Now, I'll get into this a little bit later on, but these are key factors that help people to work with you or buy from you, etc. So we'll go into that a bit later. Business fame will help you to raise awareness of your business, of brand. So, success breeds success. So the more famous you are, the more awareness you're going to raise elsewhere. It will help you to build and manage your reputation. So if you want to be the go-to expert or thought leader in your field, then working on your business fame is really going to help you. And also it's going to add credibility and competitive advantage if you start to get media coverage. Again, I'll go into that a little bit later on. Now, just quickly, I want to run through some hidden benefits, because these are important to think of too. If you're planning your sort of business and then PR strategy, think about, what business fame will do for your business in terms of attracting new opportunities and opening new doors. So the more people who hear and see you, then they are likely to come to you with new opportunities rather than you constantly having to go out to other people. It can certainly help you to educate your audience and change market behavior. So again, going back to my earlier business in 2000, we really had to do a key job on that, educating people why it was safe to order online and getting them to change their behavior of buying from us online rather than perhaps some shops that they would normally go to. And then another real key benefit is that you can attract new talent, so new employees to work for you. Again, success breeds success. People want to work with successful, famous businesses. So that's another great benefit. Okay, so I mentioned about the know, like, and trust factors. So what we want to do is to build your following, raise awareness of your business so that people get to know you. Then once they know you, they have to like your product or your service or what you have to say if you're a thought leader or an expert in your field. Then hopefully if they like you or like your brand, then they will come to trust you, okay? So they will have to be persuaded, they will have a good experience with you, or that you have the solution to their problem. Now, trust can take time. It's a personal, I would say it's a heartfelt matter. You don't just meet someone and instantly trust them. Or at least my mother told me not to do that. So I don't know about yours. But credibility, on the other hand, is more factual. So if you come across someone who you haven't heard of before, but they have, say, 20 years experience, they've got a PhD on their subject matter, you're likely to believe that that person is an expert or authority in their field because of those facts. Or say a business you've never heard of before has some famous businesses as clients themselves. You're more likely to believe they're a credible business as they've got evidence of success. Okay, so this is one of our clients, Ben Hunt Davis. He's a former Olympic athlete, gold Olympic athlete. He's also an author. He's an entrepreneur as well. So he runs a business called Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? And his book is called Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? So, if you look at the first paragraph, like Ben Hunt Davis, MBE, is a performance expert, coach, facilitator, keynote speaker. He's also co-author of Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? You can see, he's a gold medalist. Those are facts. Those are likely to make you think that, he's a credible expert. So just bear that in mind when it comes to, not everybody can be a gold medalist, granted, but there may be other things that help you, really show yourself as a credible person in your business, your industry sector, etc. Okay, so where some brands fall down is that they rely on their credibility and trip up on the trust issue. There are so many examples of this. I could go on forever, but let's look at WeWork very quickly. So they are a credible brand and very well known as the brand for shared office space. However, the activities of the co-founder, Adam Newman, caused many investors and employees to distrust him, and that impacted significantly on the whole brand and ultimately forced him to stand down as CEO. So it's really important that you instill and build trust with your customers and audience, and to do that they need to get to know you first. As I said, that may take time, but there are some great ways to speed this up. So to fast track your success, you should know that trust is transferable. And there's a couple of key ways that we can do this. The first one is through referrals. So referrals from your current customers or other people who know, like, and trust you. So most people are likely to stop looking around for a product or service that they want or need if a trusted family member, a friend, a colleague, etc., recommends you. Influencers. A shout out from a famous influencer, just the mere mention of a product by one of these influencers can have you selling out in no time. So years ago, that would have been, famous celebrities or sports stars, for instance. But today, even some micro influencers, they've got small audiences, relatively small, it depends. But, those audiences are super engaged and they trust that influencer. So if that influencer recommends a product or a service, there's a very good chance that if they're in need of that product or service, they're going to, follow their recommendation. Okay, and then of course we've got press and media coverage. So still today, I know there's a lot of, skepticism about the media, but people do still trust a recommendation in the press. And if you're mentioned in the press in some shape or form, then that does give you, that trust, and it also gives you credibility. So let's just have a look at some examples. So again, these are all some of our clients and the different ways that you can get press coverage. So it doesn't have to be just one type. So you could, if you have a product, then you could look at getting product reviews. So this was Pit Pat, one of our clients, in the Evening Standard. Now maybe you want to tell your story of how you've grown your business or how you've come out of, how you're faring post-lockdown. The press are really looking for some great positive stories now. I think we've had enough of the doom and gloom. It's really time to share your positive stories. So, you can have how you were doing, and maybe you were battling, you were struggling, but what your situation is today. If you can put a positive spin on it, then something like this is obviously not relevant. This is a completely different story, but there's room in the business press for good stories about you and your product or service. Another way to do it is with writing articles. So getting good advice pieces into publications. So again, another client of ours in Entrepreneur, talking about, successful group networking. Interviews, if you can get, if there's something going on in your, again, your sector or in your area that you want to talk about, then maybe it's something relevant for TV news or for radio news or even a print interview. But this is something that you can look at too. It may be that you've got some great videos to share, some really informative. Again, this could be around, educating your market, changing consumer behavior, for instance. So if you've got some really good videos, then that might be relevant for the media as well. Now, the holy grail, as I call it, are case studies. Now, case studies are fantastic because basically this is where a client or a customer of yours is talking to the press and therefore talking to the readers of that press, saying how amazing your product is or your service. So, so you've got a real great story there. you've got a third-party endorsement from the customer, but also the fact that it's in the press is giving it extra kudos. So, you know, case studies, if you can do something like that for your business, if you've got customers who are willing to talk about and rave about your product or service, that is a fantastic way to, you know, build your business fame. Okay, so 3 key things to build trust and credibility. So the first thing you need to do really is nailing your positioning and purpose. The second thing is having consistency with your communication, having consistency with what you're sharing with the world, be it on social media or even just communication through email with your, you know, your customer base. And thirdly, is a PR action plan to ensure that you are being heard and seen at all times. So I thought it would be good if you haven't done this before, maybe it's an exercise you have done before, but if you haven't, I strongly recommend that you have a go at this, because it's really through positioning that it's really the start of the process, let me put it that way. If you're going to go out and communicate, you know, who you are and what you do. So, you know, when a client comes to us at Adia PR, we don't even begin to, you know, go out to the press or do their PR until we've nailed their positioning, so that we truly understand who they are, what they're doing, so that we can communicate that correctly. Okay, so this is a way of doing your positioning statement. There are other ways as well, but it's an exercise that you might like to try. So first of all, you want the, you know, you've got to cover all the statements. So the what, the how, the who, the where, the why, and the when. So what do you do? So what sector are you working in? How you're different. Who your customer is, whereabouts you are, why, you know, what's in it for the customer, you know, and when is really the period or the underlying trend that's going along with this. So, you know, clearly this is Starbucks. And you've probably read that by now, so I don't need to read that, but it's a good one to use as an example. So, you know, have a go at doing your own position statement after this. Seem to have some background noise. Brand purpose statements. So this is another thing that I recommend you give a go at, and this one, I want to see if you can guess. I can't see the chat, so I would normally say, see if you can guess who this is, but I can't see your answers. So anyway, let me go through it. So to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. Yay, Starbucks again. And to create healthy eating habits that will last a lifetime. So I don't know. Can you guess that one, Alex? It's tougher, this one. I should have done the other one.
No, I can't.
So this one's Ella's Kitchen.
Okay, love Ella's Kitchen, yeah.
So again, you know, it's just really helpful to do this before you try to sort of start going out to the media. Okay, so basically there's so many different things that you can do to really raise your awareness. Press coverage is one that I've mentioned already, but it may be that, you know, the time is right now that you want to start writing a book and getting, or you've written the book in lockdown perhaps, and now is the time to start looking for a publisher or going down the self-publishing route and getting it out there, hopefully on the bestsellers list. Speaking is a fantastic way of building trust and credibility. When someone stands on stage, then, you know, often it can be, not always, but often if they're really an expert in what they're talking about, it can be a powerful way to build that connection. So if you're a keen speaker, then I would highly recommend that you look for more opportunities to speak. Now, obviously, events are not happening in you know, the real world at the moment, but there's so many opportunities like this, you know, amazing webinars going on, but also podcasts. Yeah, Alex will know and tell you all about podcasts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, you know, they're a fantastic way of getting your story across and letting people get to know you. Interviews, again, I already mentioned in sort of press coverage. So that's a good one to look at. But of course, we haven't touched on social media. Now, social media is also a fantastic way for you to be communicating on a regular basis to allow people to get to know you, so you can grow a following first of all, and the more you interact with them, the more likely it is that you're going to create some engagement, and along with that engagement is going to, you know, build that credibility and trust. Awards are a great way again for building credibility, especially, you know, some are more high profile than others, but still, you know, even if it's local, regional awards, or, you know, lesser known awards in your industry sector, I think they're a fantastic way to build brand awareness, because it's not just about the winning. It's also the fact that, you know, you've got judges who are reading your entries, and they, you know, if they like the sound of your business, you know, there's a very good chance that they're going to talk about you afterwards, and they are influential people themselves. So, so I always recommend to enter awards. And events, well, as I mentioned, there's speaking, but it's also a question of maybe exhibiting at events. The Festival of Enterprise, for example, is a terrific business show to exhibit at. I have done myself before. So, you know, I look forward to when we can get out there again and be at events. And again, it's a great way to network and get to know more people, and as I said, allow them to get to know you too. So okay, so I want to be clear about this whole thing about business fame again, and the type of personal business or brand you think you need to be to do this. So, you know, I always say it's never too soon to start. You know, you don't have to be a big company to do this. It's fine to do it from day one. You know, if you're a small business, you don't have to be a superstar, you know, to be going out doing these things. You know, it's that the onus is on you to get out there and build yourself up in a credible way. So, you know, you don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to be flashy or, you know, full of yourself. It's not about that at all. You know, I'm an introvert. Many of my clients are introverts, but we're stepping up and sharing information and stories about ourselves and giving advice and everything, because it's important to us for our businesses, and we want people to know about our businesses. So it's not about stepping into the limelight, being famous yourself. It's all about, you know, as I say, coming back to, you know, it's all about building that trust and credibility and getting that connection with your audience. Okay, so sorry. Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to say was about this is, you know, some people struggle with seeing themselves as an expert. So, you know, if something like imposter syndrome, you know, creeps up for you, you know, it is a very real thing, but it's something that you kind of have to push to the side. You know, there are so many people who have struggled with this, but, you know, the likes of Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey, Sheryl Sandberg, you know, so many different people, and even, you know, my clients as well. It's like they struggle with, you know, who does she think she is, or, you know, who does he think he is? So it's something to try and put aside as much as you can, because if you're speaking, you know, with your expertise behind you, with your experience, with what you know, then honestly, you know, that is good enough to get you to the next level. And so, you know, if you constantly think that you're a fraud, or, you know, there's so many bad terminology around this that people struggle with, you know, I would invite you to try and let it go, because it's not going to serve you, and you can't serve your customers, your clients, with that baggage, you know. So, you know, really speak from your experience, speak with the education that you have, or, you know, the business experience that you have, and let that speak for itself, and you will have no problems whatsoever. So trust me, you know, I've been there with so many different clients, and we've never failed to get press coverage. We've never failed to raise awareness of their business or themselves as experts. So, you know, please, I hope that can give you some sort of reassurance that you don't have to be the alpha male, or the, you know, massive extrovert who's really confident to do any of this. Okay, so basically that's it for today. Now, what I did want to say to you is that I am running a 12-week live program. We're starting the 22nd of June. And this is a program where I'm going to be going into much more depth with all of this. And it's a done with you program. So, you know, there's plenty of content there. There's plenty of information, tips, techniques, and strategies, etc., on, you know, how to secure press coverage, how to raise awareness of your business, your brand, of course, your visibility. And if you're an expert in your field, then obviously how to raise your profile. So this is starting, as I said, on the 22nd of June. I do have a very special 50% discount for this week only, because I do have people already on the program, and there's a limit to how many people I can reasonably take care of at any one time. So as I said, you know, I'm doing this with you, so it's very, I only do this literally once a year. So if you want to join, you're very welcome to. I'm not going to do a massive pitch here, because I'm conscious of the time. And so all I would say is that if this is something that you think might be of interest to you. If you think that that resonates, then please do join me for a consultancy call. I'm happy to talk one-to-one to see if that's right for you. Now, obviously, if you think I don't have time to do it myself, I'd just like Adia to take care of us as a client, then obviously that's fine too, and I'm happy to jump on a call to help you with that too. But I will have a workbook with this information and more to share with you. So I will give Alex the details of how to get hold of that workbook. So that's completely free of charge, of course, and I hope that you'll all want a copy of that, and I can get that over to you, or Alex can afterwards. So that's me. So you can find me at any of these places, on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I appreciate you spending the time with me this afternoon. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ellie. That's great. Thank you very much indeed. Any other questions, folks? Just pop them up here. Susan says she's done this program and it is brilliant. Couple of questions coming in. Have you any suggestions on how frequently you should be posting on social media? And can you do it too often? I will share yesterday's webinar that that I had Ben on, and he's going to be on again on Friday, Ben Kaplan, and he was saying, I mean, his opinion, tell me what you think, Ali, and I know Stephen Bartlett from Social Chain has said the same thing recently, that LinkedIn, this is the golden age of LinkedIn. It doesn't penalize you how many times you post on LinkedIn, for example. Any insights for you with regards to frequency of posting on social media?
Yeah, I think, look, you know, if you're running your own business and you're doing the social media yourself, I would say go easy on yourself, you know, because if you're spending that much time on social media, how are you supposed to run your business? Really? But if you're outsourcing it, or you've got someone in your team who's dedicated to it, then, you know, Facebook, I think 2 to 4 times a day, you know, or Twitter, again, 2 to 4 times a day. LinkedIn, I don't like to bombard people with too much information. I do a lot of sharing. So I share my clients' content. So I do a lot of that. But I don't bombard people with my own information on LinkedIn. So I think you've got to find out what works for you. It's a little bit trial and error, isn't it? And what your audience, you know, responds to, if you like. So I don't believe that there's one, you know, particular answer for all types of business. So
yeah, I'm the same as you, and I agree. I think if you're doing it yourself, then you do need to go easy on yourself, because you know, for everything Gary Vee says, for example, Gary Vaynerchuk, and a lot of stuff he says does make sense. You know, I don't buy into this. You know, you should be posting, you know, 1 million times a day on every single platform, because it's just not feasible. As Ali said, you should be focusing on revenue generation tasks when you are running your own business. And you know, I hosted a chap called Brendan Kane, whose book's called 1 Million Followers: How I Built a Massive Social Following in 30 Days, and he did the social media campaigns for the likes of Rihanna and Taylor Swift. And I liked him because he was the complete opposite. He was just like, quality over quantity every day of the week. If you've got one good thing to post on LinkedIn in a week, that's better than posting 6 things every single day.
Yeah, but again, do you want me to stop sharing, by the way?
Yeah, or you can leave it. I'll focus your good self on the screen instead. There you go.
I've just stopped sharing, but sorry, I find it really hard to have a conversation with someone when I can't see their face. So I'm really old school, sorry. But I think it's horses for courses. I don't know if can you see me now? There we go.
Yeah.
I can see things again. So, if your business and all your clients are on Facebook, then it makes absolute sense for you to be posting heavily on Facebook.
Yeah.
And networking on Facebook, building relationships with other people on Facebook. Some businesses, that's their platform, So I would say absolutely go all in. If that's your focus, then you want to be posting on there and engaging on there way more than other businesses where your clients are, perhaps more out in the real world. Of course, they're still on social media, or should be, but it's different,
Yeah. No, agreed. I always, when it comes to creating podcasts and advising people on podcasts, I always just reflect everything back, similar to what you said. Think of your ideal listener. Where do they hang out? What platform do they hang out on? If they hang out on Instagram, then yeah, go all in on Instagram. But if they're not on LinkedIn, then it doesn't make sense to, focus a lot of your time on LinkedIn at the end of the day, because we've all got the same amount of time in the day, and it's where you focus that time.
Exactly. And at the
loads of questions.
we do need to work on our business, and social media is one element, but there are many, many other elements to running a successful business.
Yeah, I'm going to whip through lots of questions. Any tips on how to interest journalists to be able to get coverage? How do you get noticed rather than ignored? So that's from T.
Yeah. It depends on who so when you're going out to, again, I could go on forever about this, but when you're going to a journalist, you've got to understand who is he or she writing for. So what's their target audience? So if they're writing for a women's consumer magazine, what stories do they tend to write about in that magazine? So look through previous examples and see if you can come up not with the same subject matter, but the same sort of style of that story that they've written about before. So I would look at their previous work. You've got to do your research. PR, reaching out to the media, it's not rocket science, but it is time consuming. You do have to look, you have to do your research and really make sure that you're going to them with some valuable content. You want to make their life easier, basically.
Yeah.
You've got to put in the legwork. You can't just approach a journalist and say, oh, can you write about me? That's not going to cut it. So you've got to do the hard work for them and give them a compelling reason why they and their audience should want to know about you.
Yeah. Susan Heaton Wright says, I have my own podcast, have done for 6 years. Well done, Susan, and regularly do short vlogs. David says, we're just about to launch a podcast on Anchor. Alex gave excellent advice on the process and platforms. Thank you very much, David.
And can I just say that Susan's podcast is fantastic too. So I recommend everybody go and listen to Susan's podcast too.
Susan, what's your podcast called? Do let me know. Let's have a quick look. Workbook sounds great. Please put me down for a copy. You've shared your email. Again, I'll email everybody with your email to make it really easy for people to connect with you. Sharon says, is this course suitable for small startups?
Yep, absolutely.
Sharon says, what does Adia stand for?
Adia. Oh, Adia, here's my story. So Adia stands for, it's African name for God's gift. So I don't think I'm God's gift to Earth. So just to be clear, it was actually because when I was pregnant with my second child, I thought it might be a girl. And that was my chosen name if I had a girl. But I had another 2 boys. So Adia became Oscar. And so I just loved the name. And when I started my PR business, I decided to call it Adia because at the end of the day, I do feel my gift is PR. I've worked in PR for a long time. And so that's my gift to my clients. So.
Nice story. My mother tells me that I was going to be called Sarah. So there you go.
Alex is better for you.
Just so I throw that one in there. Rob says, any advice on how to keep yourself going consistently with PR activities when a smaller organization that is also out delivering services? Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of people who fall into that, Rob. So thank you for that one.
Yeah, it is about consistency. I always say PR is a marathon, not a sprint. So I think a little bit each month or each week if you can, but a little bit consistently is far better than throwing yourself into it for a month and then stopping. So it's just, and this is again, you know, my program goes into how to do this, how to sort of stretch out your activity, what you can manage, what is reasonable for you over 12 months. So it's, yeah, a little and often, or little and regularly is better than, yeah.
And Chris from Solo Timber Frame. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us today. I can give you an answer for this one. So are there any platforms that enable me to post to multiple social media sites? So there's the likes of Hootsuite, isn't there, Ali?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's what's it called? Edgar. What's the Edgar? Meet Edgar.
Edgar, yeah, I've used that one before as well. Yeah.
There's a new one I've just discovered. It was on my screen. It's gone now. In America, there's a new one that I was going to trial. The name escapes me, but there's a lot out there actually.
Yeah, Buffer. That's another one we've used in the past. Although I do think, and this is just personal opinion, but when you are posting, as Ali said, onto that platform that your audience predominantly hangs out on, there's nothing like a more personable post that's maybe timely as well, and you can, you know, put the right hashtags and tags in, because not all of these platforms that we've used enable you to actually tag people in them. For example, tag the businesses in them. It will just come out, you know, without the tags, without, you know, some of the hashtags, etc. And you just don't get the same engagement as you do posting it live, so to speak. So just a heads up.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree with that.
David says Google Alerts are a much overlooked tool to identify sector trends that you can then comment on and share to position you as a knowledgeable individual in your sphere. Also saves time checking Twitter trends too for immediate issues. Thanks, absolutely. David.
Yeah.
And then any last questions? Post them up now, because we're coming up right up to finishing up. Sharon says, can you name the name of the man that you like who does PR for Rihanna, etc.? Oh, right, yeah. So Brendan Kane is his name. Super knowledgeable chap, I have to say. I've already referred a client of mine who I make a podcast for, who's actually met up with him in LA, because they both live in LA actually. So that was one of the super connector move. But yeah, his book's called 1 Million Followers: How I Built a Massive Social Following in 30 Days. I'd recommend it to everyone. It's a super cool book. It tells the story. It tells the story of how he did, you know, Taylor Swift's social media, you know, built a platform for her and grew her following, etc. But all of these stories that kind of reflect back to what you were saying earlier, Alec. You know, again, when he said like Taylor Swift worked her absolute buns off.
Yeah.
You know, likewise Rihanna, to get where they are today by doing all of those things. You know, actually commenting themselves on posts to engage with their followers when they had, you know, very small number of people, to get those first, you know, 10 raving fans that everybody needs to get going, or buy, you know, anything and everything that you put out as content. So
yeah, that's so-called overnight success.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah. Any last words you want to finish up for us, Ali? You want to just mention again how people can get in touch with you? And what's your email? I'll type it up into here again, into the chat, so the replays, people who come on the replay can see it as well.
Yeah, I can type it in. So.
Cool. Okay, great. Because we always get asked this question: is the replay available? Yeah, literally as soon as I press stop here, you can watch the replay, and then it will be put onto our YouTube channel as well, so you can watch it in 2 different places. And again, if you go to our Facebook or Twitter feeds, it will be there as well, where you can watch it. So Yeah, another one. Do we contact you direct for the workbook, Ali? Ali's going to have it. So yeah, if you'll see her email, Alison at adiapr.co.uk.
Yeah,
brilliant. Perfect timing. Coming up to 1 o'clock. Sharon, Susan, Rob, also thanks. Really helpful. Awesome.
Great. Well, thank you for the questions.
Yeah, great. Loads more coming through. Chris, Lily, thank you both. Thank you. Yeah, I'm always, as always, happy to connect with everybody. You know, we're not at Olympia or the NEC, so we're not able to network. You can find me again on LinkedIn, Alex Chisnell, dead easy. And I'm also, for those interested, our webinars will continue again from tomorrow I'm just going to check now for you. Yeah, literally from 12 p.m. Strategies to support entrepreneurs, and then I'm hosting Amplify Your Brand with podcasting at 2 p.m. and that's live and direct with myself, which you can register for on the main site. So Ali, thank you very much indeed. Sharon's asking for my contact. I'll just punch up my name and just find me on LinkedIn. There's only me on there, Alex Chisnell, dead easy to find. Happy to connect and network. Again, like I say, we're trying to do it virtually now, aren't we? But hopefully we'll be able to have human contact again soon, and live events will be back on the agenda.
I hope so, but this has been great fun, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. And yeah.
Appreciate your time. Thank you, Ali, and thank you all for joining us. Chris, Lily, Sharon, Rob, Susan, everybody else has had to jump off a little early. Those of you watching Twitter, Facebook, YouTube as well. So thanks once again, and we will see you again, hopefully, tomorrow. Thanks for your time, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.